Hey guys, Chris from Stroup Knives here. Today we're going to go over a big topic that a lot of you guys have asked us about. How to take your hobby, maybe it's not even a hobby yet, but some kind of skill you have, and turning it into a full-fledged, full-time business that supports your family. There's a lot of steps. We tried to break it into bite-sized pieces, kind of in phases. So let's just get started. Wait, first, this is our new knife we're coming out with. There's going to be details coming out really soon and probably a video about it also. Just wanted you guys to see it. This thing is a monster. It's going to be cool, so keep your eyes out for it. It's going to be cool. I like it. It makes me excited. So first, the very first step of all of this, right, is to learn your craft, man. You got to have something really good that people want. It can't be the same. If you're going to start a shirt company, you can't just put a silly logo on a shirt and think people are going to buy it, right? You got to have something behind it, something that means something. Or if you're a knife maker, you have to learn your own style. You can't just make a cookie cutter knife and expect to sell a whole bunch of them. Why is your knife better than everybody else's knife? Why should I buy your knife? So learn your craft, learn it, study it, be the best you can about it, because that's the entire thing revolves around the product, right? It doesn't matter what the product is, beard oil, shirts, hats, socks, I don't care. It could even be a service. If you're teaching shooting instruction, learn how to be a really good shooting instructor before you even start. That is step one. We can make that step 0. So once you've gotten that down, you've got tons of hours, you've spent a whole bunch of money learning, just R&D, taking classes, watching all the YouTube videos you can. Next, we're just going to create a checking account and a social media account. This checking account is where all of your money is going to flow through. Everything that you spend or make is going to flow through that checking account. At this point, it doesn't necessarily have to be a big business account with all the fancy things and an EIN number and a checking account and all that. We'll learn about all that later on. Don't stress about that. Just create a separate account. If you're at USAA, just make yourself one of those free USAA checking accounts. Don't call it a business account because you can't have a business account at USAA. So right now it's just a hobby. We're learning, but flow all the money through there because then you can track it and it's easy as you grow. Next is create a social media account. It doesn't have to be anything crazy and scary. Just post some pictures of what you're doing, talk about what you're learning and what you're about. Just start building that presence and start building a following. Everybody's got to start somewhere. It's going to take a really long time to grow. So just start it, be consistent. We'll go over social media in depth. That's a whole nother thing and it's kind of a pain, but it's super important. All right, ready? We have a product, right? We got a thing, something people like. We have a social media presence. We have a checking account that our money's going to flow through. Now start selling some things to your friends. Don't start selling before now, though. That's bad. You got to have something cool to sell. So now let's sell to some of our friends, maybe some coworkers, people that we know and trust, and ask them for their feedback. Give them a good price. When we started selling knives, we sold them embarrassingly cheap. At that point, it was just me. But we sold them cheap just to get them out there because I wanted people to see them and feel them, and then we could start getting some money flowing through that bank account, because at that point now you can start self-funding your business, hopefully, and your wife will hate you less, or whoever's in your life, for spending all your money out of your personal checking account or on the credit card, and now you can make the money to buy the materials you need. All right, take some custom orders at this point too. We don't do that anymore because they take a long time, but that's how you're going to learn. I took as many custom orders as I felt comfortable doing in the beginning, because as you're making these things, people are going to ask you for things you might not have ever thought of. Like, hey man, make me a fillet knife. So I've learned everything I could about making fillet knives, and I learned that I don't like making them. So we don't offer them anymore. But how do you know until you just make them? Or whatever the thing is that people are asking you to do, see if it's in your wheelhouse and learn how to do it. If you suck at it, tell them, hey man, I tried really hard, I couldn't figure it out, sorry. But don't take their money up front. At this point, don't ever take their money up front, because you don't know if you could deliver or not. All right, next, we're starting to learn, right? We're getting these custom orders. We're having our product into our friends and families and coworkers' hands, only people we know at this point. So the next step is building your brand. So now you need to get a logo, right? A logo that's easily recognizable. It's clean. It shows what you are. Like ours, you could look at it. It's a knife, pretty clear. Come up with something that's clear for your brand. There's you could go down a whole college degree program on branding. I don't know that much about it. We made a really cool logo. If you need to, hire somebody. There's a lot of options out there to help with that. But build your brand, and that's going to be all over your social media now. So now you need to start thinking of what you represent. Our brand, right, is really good quality knives at a decent price point and family. We're a big family business. You can look at any of our things, and the first thing you're going to see is our family. We all work together. The people in our shop are more than employees, they're our family. So you should be able to quit looking at me, Sarah. Sarah's behind the camera and she was looking at me. She knows. It's all part of your branding. So people need to be able to look at all of your things across all the platforms and see what you represent. So that's super important. And now is the time to start building that in there. Now we're getting ready to sell things, right, to a bigger audience. So maybe it's time to start building a website. Even something simple, just get the lowest end Shopify, watch a couple videos on how to build a website so you can have your products through there and go for it. It doesn't have to be fancy at first, right? What's the old saying? Done is better than perfect. So just do the best you can, and then when it's time, you circle back and you make a better website. You pay a web developer at that point when it makes sense. And then you just keep refining. I think we're on website number 3 at this point, and we might be on website number 4 in the next couple months. So you just got to keep refining, but you just have to make incremental progress and keep moving forward. So now we have a brand, right? We have a little bit of demand growing for our business. Now we're going to refine our processes, because it doesn't matter how big your demand gets. If you can't fill it, then what are you doing, you know? So build up your steps to make your processes better and better. In the knife making shop here, we refine every single process down to the smallest detail, because every one of these steps makes a big difference. So you pick the thing that's your biggest hurdle and make it better. If that means you invest some money into that, then you invest some money into that. But it's always trying to make a better product faster, right? Because if I can make 3 knives a month, but I could sell 30 of them, that's 27 sales that you're missing out on. So if you can make those 3 knives with the same quality or better quality across 30, now you can sell all 30. And then once you get there, you figure out how to make 45, and then the next and the next. But we'll go over how to do that more. We'll go over some shop tours and how we do all of our processes, because we go down to the smallest detail, because that's what it takes to make a good product. You have to be obsessive about making the best thing that you possibly can. And it takes your soul sometimes. You have to go down the rabbit hole. Like, hey, we're going to get a CNC machine. I researched all the CNC machines, took a CNC course, spent, I don't know, hundreds of hours tinkering with this thing, figuring it out. But if you don't do that, you're not going to do it right. So don't do it at all, please. All right, guys. So now, right, we've been selling a product, building a brand. Now we need to decide if we're going to do this full time or not, and we have to prep for it. So if we're going to do this full time, we need to build up to that, because right now it's just been a hobby, right? Maybe we're self-funding it. Maybe it's still costing you a little bit of money. So the first step is to build your systems, right? Let's let some pros help us out. Let's get a bookkeeper on board. Let's talk to a CPA and attorney. For us at Stroup Knives, we're an LLC. Why? Because that's what the professionals told me to do, and it made the most sense. I'm not an expert on entities, but there's lots of different ones. Sole proprietor or LLC are probably the 2 biggest ones, maybe a partnership. So let the professionals help guide you. That's going to be dependent on your bigger tax picture of your entire family and everything else you have going on, plans you have for the future. They all offer different things. With an LLC, you're going to get an EIN number, which allows you to open a business bank account. This is beneficial because now you can completely separate the business from your personal finances, which we're going to talk way more about in some future videos. But you can get a business credit card and rack up those points. You can keep it separate, so the business is here and your personal life is here, and you can keep them completely separate. And then when you want to pay yourself from the business, when you get that big, then you just have to write yourself a check or do a direct deposit or however you want to do it. But it's not easy to just move money back and forth. Like if it's in your USAA account, you're like, oh man, I need groceries, and you just take it out of your knife fund. Well, now you're hurting your knife business, right? So we're building our teams, we're building our systems. Maybe at this point we're building up our website a little bit better. Maybe we need to hire an employee, because at this point you're still working your job, you're 9 to 5. So find those steps that you can eliminate by hiring somebody to pay them $10 or $15 an hour. That way your business is still growing while you're still working, right? You could get somebody that can prep your handles or press your shirts or whatever processes you can come up with, and they can help you to grow quicker than if it was just you doing this. It'll take a lot of the stress off you. Maybe this person can do shipping, any number of tasks, but find somebody to help you. Maybe your spouse can help you, or the neighbor's kid. It can be anybody. So at this point, continue your job and grow your business at the same time. To grow your business, you want to keep all the money you make in the business, right? If you take out $3,000 a month, that's a new grinder or a new heat treat oven or a new shirt press or something that you can't use to grow your business. And that's silly, because you're still working a full-time job, so you don't need the money. You don't. I know it. Quit buying dumb stuff. You'll thank me later. If you look in our shop, we put all the money back that we make into it. I've just started paying myself after 5 years of doing this for the very first time this month, and it wasn't even very much. Why? Because the more money I put into it, the bigger it's gonna be. So we could buy the new grinders, we could do the shop upfit, we can get all the electrical work that we need to do. So keep working your job, let your hobby keep growing and growing while you evaluate if you can do this full time. But the bigger you grow the business, with the infrastructure you need, which takes money, the better. Some people consider taking on a partner at this point. You gotta realize you're small and that $10,000 might seem really cool for 20% of the company or whatever deal, but in 6 months, is it gonna be worth it? Could you have just borrowed $10,000 from the bank and not have to give up ownership of your company or control or whatever, because nothing comes free? So think of this long-term. Think about hiring somebody. So next, we're close, right? We got a good product, we got our systems, we got a brand built. People know who you are. Now it's decision time. So to do this, we need to track all of our expenses and profit and loss and everything in a system. You can use Excel in the beginning, but man, that's tedious. My time is worth way more than that. I think Quickbooks is $15 a month. You connect all of your bank accounts directly to it. This is where your bookkeeper comes in handy. Your bookkeeper helps you create all of your, I forget what they're called, fancy accountant stuff, but all your little categories in QuickBooks, your cost of goods sold, which is like abrasive, steel, whatever materials go directly into it. And then you have all your extra expenses, your marketing, your shop supplies, everything else. And then if they set it up correctly, every month you can look at your profit and loss statements. You go down, oh look, payroll was 20% of all of our income. And then you get to the bottom and you see you've made a profit. That's what you're looking for. It's gonna take a while. There's gonna be months where you're at a loss, and that's okay. That's normal, that's part of running a business. But if you're gonna do this full time, you gotta make enough money to be able to do this. So track this, this is important, it's boring. If we're making stuff in the shop, we don't wanna have to focus on this crap, but you have to, it's important, do it. Sit at the computer for half an hour a night or get up early one morning a week and do it. It'll pay off. So is there potential for growth? You're looking at your statements, you know what your processes are. If you hired another person or got another printer or another whatever, is that gonna help you expand? Is there enough potential clients to do that? Could you pay a marketing firm to help you with your marketing to reach this many people? Or could you do another big event or something? But make sure that there's room for expansion. Because if you're selling something that only 10 people in the world want, and you've already sold it to 8 of them, maybe it's not the right fit and you need to reevaluate and start back at the top. That's how you grow your business. I got a couple more notes. Is don't rush. Some of these steps you can't force. Building your brand, making a product that's worth selling to people, you can't rush those. You have to take your time and do it right. So don't start selling until you have a good product to offer. If you're a knife maker and your knife looks like something I could have made, I don't know, in my fireplace in the backyard with a toothbrush and it looks terrible, or looks like something you could find in a prison cell, probably don't sell that, because eventually your knives are gonna be way better. And you don't want Jim to be showing off your knife to a new potential customer and they're like, what is this? This is not what I want. So they could be not 100%, because you need to get some products out there, but they better be good. They better be heat treated well. They better hold up.
Not a prison shank.
Not a prison shank at all, please. I've seen it lots of times. Don't let that be the reputation you start with. It's hard to do that. You have to build a reputation. They know if they buy this thing, they can take this thing into the forest and smash stuff with it, and it's gonna look at you and be like, oh, that's all you got? That's what our knives bring to the table. I know this because we spent years developing that and testing them. We live on 6 acres in the woods, and we had some friends buy some of our knives and they smash stuff with them all day long and they hold up. But it doesn't just happen. It doesn't start that well in the beginning. So test your stuff. If you make a shirt and the little things are falling off after 2 cycles in the wash, go back to the drawing board and make a better system, because that sucks. Do it again. That's okay. You're gonna experiment, you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail over and over, and then you're gonna win, and then you're gonna fail some more. It happens, man. Just keep going. It's worth it. Don't give up is my next point. You're gonna have ups and downs. In the knife world, for us, we'll make a whole bunch of knives and get worried because they're sitting on the shelf. So we got all this inventory, and then all of a sudden, our inventory is down here and our orders are up here, and we have the opposite problem. And then it goes this way, because now we have too many knives and not enough orders, and then we have too many orders and not enough knives. That's just how stuff happens. Hey, it was Christmas and the holidays and everybody's doing their taxes. Now everybody's got their tax money and they're buying everything. Now it's summer and everybody's on family vacation. Now they're back at work and they want cool stuff to show their friends. So it's gonna be this up and down and this flowy cycle. Just accept it and hop on. It's gonna be fun. There's gonna be months where you're like, holy crap, I spent $20,000 and made $6,000. But then the next month you'll make $40,000 and it'll cost you $6,000. So it's gonna balance out. You just gotta trust your processes. You know what you're doing. You did it right. You took your time. You built something with a solid foundation. And we didn't build it with debt, right? Because we invested in our company and we failed enough times in the beginning to learn some things. And now we're doing good. And then the last point I'm gonna make is always make improvements to everything. Once you think you got it figured out, circle back around to something else and figure out how to make that better. And then figure out that thing that's holding up your business and solve that. Sometimes it's solved by hiring an expert to do it, or bringing a contractor in to add another room to your shop, or whatever that is. Maybe your heat treat process isn't dialed in, so you need to change out the oil. Now you figured that out and you circle back to the next problem and the next problem. But there's always more you can do better. And it's okay to admit that your whatever wasn't working and to solve it. And it's okay to ask for help. There's tons of people in your industry that have solved all of these problems. Reach out, make friends. Offer to help them, because then people are more willing to help you, and it's just fun helping people as you learn stuff. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now, is trying to help you guys. So this isn't a definitive guide. This isn't a checklist. This is just kind of a workflow. Hey, kind of start here, work through here. There's going to be some ups and downs and skipping a step maybe and coming back. These are just things, all of these things do need to happen. Maybe not in this order, because every business is a little different. So we just want to be able to help guide you through this. And we're going to kind of use this lesson to guide some of our future videos so we can go into more detail about, starting a social media account. How do you manage your bank account? What do we do, right? If you're in the Army or you work in a 9-to-5, you don't know what the heck you're doing. That's okay. We didn't either. We learned. We asked a lot of questions. We made a lot of mistakes. So stay tuned. Follow us, please. Follow us on YouTube, which is probably where you're watching this. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Stroup Knives. Our website is stroupknives.com. Check out our knives. Let us know what you think. Feel free to ask questions in the comments, please.
Turn on post notifications.
Oh, yeah. Turn on them post notifications.
Hit that bell.
Hit the bell. The bell is post notifications, I'm being told by my experts. That way you can get updates about new knives coming out and new videos, and we'll try and guide you along the way. Let us know what you guys want to learn about, and I will see what I can do to help. Okay, thanks. Bye.